Shot clock violation.
Welcome to Shot Clock Violation, the only NBA podcast hosted by casual NBA superfans Zach Huber and Scott Schultz. I'm Zach Huber, and this is Scott Schultz.
Hello. In 2013, I bought a Nate Robinson jersey because he had the greatest playoff flu game in Chicago Bulls history.
Thank you, Scott. And also, our referee for today is Jack Cronin.
Hello. The extent of my NBA knowledge is info I've siphoned off my dad as a lifelong Bulls fan, and that's it.
Yep, perfect. That's just the way we want it, because today is our first day recording the podcast, but every week we'll put 12 minutes on the clock, which is the length of an NBA quarter, and we will discuss 10 to 12 NBA topics from the week. All right, so this is a game show that rewards brevity and intelligibility. So for each topic, we will have just a 24-second shot clock to give our take, and Jack will preside over the discussion and the clock, and he'll hand out violations to whoever goes over the time or has the dumbest sounding take. And so at the end of the show, we'll tally all the violations, and whichever one of us has the most will have to say one awful sentence that the winner comes up with, no matter what it is. So now, it's worth noting that similar to an actual NBA ref, Jack knows, like he said, absolutely nothing about the NBA, but he does still have absolute authority over the show. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Zach. I'm very happy to be presiding over this match, if that's what they call it in the NBA. I hope you guys have a moment. Take a look over your notes. I know we all know the questions.
Yes.
At the end of every 24 seconds, which I have a timer pulled up, you will hear this lovely noise to indicate your time is up.
Great.
At that time, you are allowed to continue your thought, but know that you will have one tally against you. You will have one shot clock violation. And at the end of those, we'll tally them up and determine who is the winner and who is an idiot.
Boy, I can't wait to win.
Yeah. Gentlemen, how are you feeling?
Well, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I can and will destroy Scott in this contest today. We've talked about the NBA a lot, and I think I'm better at it.
I feel pretty
Fantastic.
good. I think going over the rules was good because I know there's no technical fouls, and I will cuss out the ref as much as I want with no repercussion.
Well, that's how it works
Your
on shot clock
conduct is
violation.
entirely unmonitored, but your time is. And so, in the interest of time and brevity, we move on to our first question. It's a softball, just to get the audience a little acclimated and fill me in on who's still a team in the NBA. So please, tell us about your history with the NBA, how your love for basketball started, and what are your favorite teams. So we'll start with Scott. Tell us your history with the NBA.
Well, I'm from Chicago.
Timer starts now.
Well, I'm from Chicago, so I'm a Chicago Bulls fan because you're kind of born into fandom like religion. And unfortunately, I'm dealing with the fact that I was born in 95, so I was a little too young to watch Jordan in the greatest era of basketball ever. So I'm dealing with the karma of that, of a ongoing 20-year curse of the basketball gods smiting all relevant Bulls players.
And if you heard that noise, that indicates our first shot clock violation of the match.
I got it off with 0.1 second. I think we could review the shot.
You sure as hell did.
That's my boy, Jack. That's what I love to hear. That's a violation, son.
All right. Let's keep this show on the road, fellers. All right, Zach, same question. In 24 seconds, tell us your history with the NBA, how your love for basketball started, and what are your favorite teams?
Well, I
Starting
grew up loving basketball. I played basketball like basically my entire life going into high school. My favorite player growing up was Steve Nash. I loved fashioning my game after him. I loved the 7-second Suns. I loved shooting threes, passing the ball, dunking it. Now I'm just a huge Giannis fan and a big Kings fan. I'm from Kansas City, and so I love them by design, but they frustrate me.
In 21 seconds.
Woo! Got it off, baby.
Come on,
Feels good.
Rev. Come on, you're calling a different game here. When are you starting the clock? Come on.
Scott, don't make me get another one on you.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
point. You should give
fantastic.
him an extra violation just for being a Bulls fan.
Do I nominate best answer, or is it just one buzz at
Well,
minimum per round?
I think because I actually finished within the time that it shouldn't matter if my answer was better or not. But I guess, I mean, you know, if you have an opinion on the matter, whose answer did you like more?
Well, I mean, he's got a better team and supporting cast. Like, I'm kind of like Zach LaVine on the Bulls. I'm a one-man show here.
And Scott has already taken the position of team martyr.
I will die for this cause.
We'll die for this cause. Fantastic, gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna move on to our second question. Since the rules don't explicitly say that I nominated best one, not gonna do it for everyone, but you'll know who my favorites are. All right, number 2. So the NBA All-Star starters and reserves have been announced. Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Pascal Siakam, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid for the East, and James Harden, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis for the West. It's a lot of names, and a lot of them are hard to pronounce. So
you got them all right.
Did they get it right?
You got him. That was impressive.
I did a little research. I wrote Siakam, Antetokounmpo, and Doncic down.
I really thought
Full
Siakam was
disclosure.
going to get you. I thought you were going
I
to
did
love
too.
Siakam so hard.
Siakam.
Yeah.
No, sir. This boy does his homework.
Yeah, I love that for you.
All right. Okay. So a lot of names. You got them right there beside you. So take a look. Any of these guys stand out to you? Any of these guys look like they belong? Who look like they don't? And did anybody get snubs? And we'll start with Zach, who had the better answer.
Yes. Okay, I love
Starting
going first, baby.
now.
All right. Yes, there are some snubs, some definite ones. I think in the East, Derrick Rose clearly got snubbed. Kemba Walker, he's been doing fine this year, but that's just it. He's not really sensational for me. D Rose has a better story. Would have liked to have seen him in the East, at least in the reserves. And in the West, you got to go with Ja Morant. Okay, that guy's been playing his fucking heart out this year. He's one of the best rookies, arguably the rookie of the year. I would love to see him in that game.
Ooh. Just under 24.
Oof. Man, I felt the time ticking down on me that time. I had to spit it all out. Wow.
You'll like to see it.
Whew.
Do you have a timer next to you?
No, I don't. I'm just going with the
He just
feels,
has a
I
feel
got a
for it.
natural ability. Yeah, I got a natural
Yeah.
ability for the shot
Ball
clock.
don't lie. Ball don't lie.
Shot clock.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Scott. Same question. Or would you like to rebuttal Zach's?
I'll just give my thoughts because I have something I want to add to them.
All right, fire it up starting now.
Okay, so Trae Young gets nominated as a starter because he has good stats, bad teams, and the All-Star games for fun players. Cool, I like that logic. Until in the West, we decide that Chris Paul's going to be a reserve, averaging 16 and, 5 on a good Thunder team instead of Devin Booker because his team's bad. I don't understand the logic there. Free Devin Booker. He is the Meek Mill of our generation.
23 seconds.
Woo! That was a hot take, and you came in hot with it, Scott. Man, I got to say I love that. I'm with you, though. I really do think that Booker should have been in the All-Star game, especially when we take into the fact that it's really not a game that's like necessarily based off merit as much as it is just pure entertainment value. And I mean, Devin Booker would have been like phenomenally more entertaining this year, I think, than Chris Paul would have. And not to say Chris Paul hasn't done the most this year with what he's been given in the Thunder organization, but yeah, Devin Booker's just a lot more exciting for me to watch.
And because nobody asked for it, I'd like to nominate Zach LaVine, who is, if we had NBA Jam personified into a player, it's LaVine. He only shoots threes and he only dunks. And if the All-Star game is about entertainment, I nominate an NBA Jam player.
I think that's a
Fantastic
good point.
words.
Yeah, Zach LaVine would have been great. Ja Morant, Karl Anthony Towns, a little bit of a snub there, I think. You know, he's putting up some really good numbers this year.
He hasn't won since November because of his injuries, and he's on a 15-game losing streak. He's depressed.
Oof.
We need to get him in the All-Star game.
Yeah. I mean, he was looking really good at the start of the year. He could have easily found a small place, I think, in that game. Okay, it's time to move on.
You
You
heard
take it
that,
away, Zach.
fellas. Time to move on. I'm considering enforcing a 24-second rebuttal on each side, but I think we'll just kind of lay it loose, and I'll just yell at you when I'm getting
Let the
tired of what you're
players
saying.
play, ref. Nobody enjoys having a ref dictate the winner.
No one likes rules. Just want to brawl.
Oh, man. That's great. Well, I
Hot
appreciate
take.
you stepping in, Jack. You take it from here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so NBA All-Star Game. We have one head coach, Stephen A. Smith, in the Celebrity All-Star Game. Now, Stephen A. says, I promise, I probably will get a technical foul. Maybe two. I might get thrown out. What do you fellers say to these wise words of a level-headed man in 2020?
Who gets to go first this time, Jack?
We'll send that one to Scott.
Okay, Scott's first.
Starting now.
Okay, this is the most important storyline this NBA season. We have not had a celebrity get ejected from the Celebrity Game since 2012 when Kevin Hart got ejected, so we need to get Stephen A. Smith ejected. How are we going to do this, you ask? We announce his team like a WWE Royal Rumble match. They all come out one by one. He doesn't know what to expect. And when we get to the final starter of his team, it's none other than Kwame Brown. And Stephen A. Smith rolls his eyes in the back of his head so hard he shoots off into space.
Wow.
Oh man, that's gonna be tough to beat.
I hate to give you the violation on that one because that was
Come
well worth
on,
it.
ref. Come on.
It was beautifully orchestrated and really well put together. And to honor that, I'm going to make sure that I go over the shot clock this time as well, Scott, while talking about Stephen A. Smith.
Honorable.
So that we
Do it
have
for
to
Kobe.
judge each of us. Yes, I will.
If you go 10 seconds over, I'm giving you a second one.
Okay, here we go. I'm ready.
All
I got
right,
my take. I'm locked and loaded.
Starting now.
All right, so I have a lot of high expectations going into the Celebrity All-Star Game, and I fully expect Stephen A. Smith to get thrown out of the game, just like he said, because we know he's going to be yelling constantly. I don't expect him to take a single breath during this match. In fact, I think when he gets thrown out, he's going to grab a cigar and a cowboy hat and puff it as he strolls out of the gym, and right when he walks away, he's going to cut a rope that sends Jim Boylen cascading down from the top of the United Center into a dunk tank at center court, and we're all going to cheer.
That's
Wise
beautiful.
words. I'm glad to see everyone, including Stephen A., are all on the same side of he is going to be ejected. No one's putting up any counterpoints.
Well, we all know him pretty well, and I think we all know that we all
true.
want to see him get kicked out of that game. That's the most entertaining thing that could possibly
I don't
happen.
think...
If
I don't
he's
know.
assuming the worst,
I think Stephen A. Smith's been locked in his radio station for so long he hasn't gotten to watch a basketball game in 25 years. So I don't know if he's an X's and O's kind of guy. I think he's just a hot take guy. Like if Stephen A. Smith was coaching, he would be like LeBron and Michael Jordan 1v1. Let's settle this. And Michael would be like, Stephen, I'm 58 years old. And he's like, get out there, Mike.
He's going to be screaming about advanced analytics to like Rick Fox and Larry Bird, who just aren't in this game just so that they could like catch a little wave of relevance in 2020.
Stephen A. is going to be arguing the semantics of whether or not Justin Bieber counts as a celebrity. What has this kid done?
Were you going to take it away, Jack? Who won that round? Who had the best Stephen A. fantasy?
Actually, Stephen A. is going to take it away.
All-Stars, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to do something about it, okay? I'm going to show you how a coach is really supposed to act in that coaching box. Obviously, I think about the great ones. Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, Larry Brown, Phil Jackson. Not so much Phil Jackson, you know, he got the bad hips and all. I don't have bad hips. But I will tell you this. Go parade down that sideline. If I think about somebody that I could potentially emulate, it would be Pat Riley. Not the slick back here, but the suits, that's always on time. Stephen A. All-Star Weekend.
Why did that sound like one of the like wrestlers challenges in the WWE? It sounded like he was standing there with a microphone and a reporter just screaming into it.
That's Stephen A. That's why we need to do a Royal Rumble introduction and Kwame Brown comes out. Come on, ref. Give the people what they want.
Oh, man.
It's not going to lose you any shot clock violations, Scott, but I like your spirit.
Beautiful.
All right, fellers. All right, we're moving out of the All-Star game and just considering the standings right now. The Western Conference standings, pretty tight. I don't know if I could tell you a single team in the Western Conference, but I heard they're pretty tight. But for some reason, we're talking about trades. When can you even trade in the NBA? This is ridiculous. Needs to make a trade to secure their hopes for NBA Finals. What kind of last-minute nonsense is that? All right, who in the West needs to trade, and I don't know, why should they trade, and why is this allowed?
So let me get this straight. Jack has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know any of the players, and we're going to just throw out a bunch of names in 24 seconds and hope he can keep up.
Yep, that's basically what's going to happen here. Just so you know, Jack, there is a trade deadline.
I want you guys to make a case to me, and I will choose at the end of this round. I'll even give you 12 extra seconds per answer to explain to me why a trade should happen. Any single trade.
Okay.
You have 36 seconds. I'm going to give you an extra second to collect your thoughts. All right, we're going to start with Zach.
Okay.
All right. On me. Starting now.
Okay, well, we're talking about the Western Conference, then we're definitely talking about the Trailblazers because they have been horrendous this year. They are, like, trailing the pack. They're, like, around the 9th seed, when they should be up in playoff contention. So, they just don't have any help. Damian Lillard, their best player, who's been averaging 45 points over the last 6 games, is trying to do it all by himself, but he can't. He's going to get hurt before we know it. He needs help. He needs a big man. Hassan Whiteside sucks. Let's get Kevin Love in there. He's on the chopping block. He wants out of Cleveland. Let's get him to the Trailblazers where he can actually help somebody go on a playoff run.
Very nice. 32 seconds.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. Underdog team needs help for their star. I can get behind it.
Yeah, that's what they need, man. They've been getting squeaked out of the playoffs every year now for the past couple years. They've just been getting inched out. They've been making it one game further one series further every single year in the playoffs. It's their time to go to the NBA Finals this year. If they're going to do it at all, they need some help.
All right, Scott, your time is on now.
All right, the Trailblazers are in the 9th seed. They're barely out of the playoffs. Who cares about them? What we need are big trades for top contending teams, okay? Clippers, love to see them get Bogdanovich from the Kings, expiring contract. Kings are out of relevancy. He can create a shot. How about this, though? The Nuggets, sitting at the number 2 seed, give up draft picks, Michael Porter Jr., maybe a Jeremy Grant for a Robert Covington, and 3-and-D wing to give them to solidify the three-point shooting and wing defending that they need. Here's an even better trade, though. I want to see the Memphis Grizzlies trade Andre Iguodala to someone for a 2045 draft pick. Will the league still exist in 2045? Who knows? Maybe they flip it. This league is just like a sisterhood of traveling pants, but it's a draft pick. Everybody's trading for it.
All right. Compelling cases made on each side. I think due to the breadth and character of Scott's trade proposals and for calling into the question, will we still be around in 2045? That existential dread tells me he's won this round and earned back his point that he just lost.
Thank you, Ref. I just want to say I always believed in you. I defended you when other people were questioning your legitimacy.
Honestly, I think you deserved it. But the fact that you were able to fit in that existential, it was really question at the end was really artful. Yeah, I love that. But I'm not going to lie, you hurt my feelings a little bit, Scott. If the Kings actually traded Bogdanovich, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably scream and tear up pictures of Harrison Barnes in my room alone. So, if that comes true because you've spoken it into existence, I'm going to come for you, Scott. I'm coming for you. I love Bogdanovich. He's one of my favorite players on the Kings. Fuck you.
But what if they trade Bogdanovich for Andre Iguodala in a 2045 draft pick? It could be anybody. It could be Bogdanovich's grandson.
I mean, that's what the Kings need. That's all they really need is one more veteran presence in the locker room, like Harrison Barnes, to just give us a solid 14 points and 2 rebounds a game. That's what we're looking for.
All right, we heard about the West. Fuck the West. We're done with the West.
Great.
We're moving
Fuck that.
east.
Ooh.
Out to the east. A lot of trade talk around Derrick Rose. Someone who I know who that is.
Yes, there is.
And
yes,
I understand he had a pretty rough ACL tear in 2012, and that's why we cannot mourn him. So, this former MVP and 3-time All-Star player and Gimp, where could you see him going to help most?
Okay. This is a topic near and dear to your heart, Scott. I'd love to see you take it away.
Scott, please.
Get this man on the 76ers. I don't care how we make it work. Get him on the Sixers. It would be great. It'd be patriotic. It's what the people want. But really, where could he help the most? Where he could help the most is the Bulls, where we have entered a dark, dark time that has not been seen since the Tim Floyd Baby Bowl era after Michael Jordan in the early 2000s. And really, I just need some light at the end of the tunnel. Bring Derrick Rose back. He is the Meek Mill of our generation. Free him.
Well put.
Him and Devin Booker. Him and Devin Booker.
Derrick Rose is the Devin Booker of our generation. Free him.
Okay, which makes him the Meek Mill of our generation. I got you. Okay. Well, reset the shot clock, Jack, because I'm just ready to take this one away.
All right, fire it up, baby. Starting now.
Okay, well, you took both my answers, Scott. The Sixers and the Bulls, I think, are the front runners for me as well. I'd love to see him on either of those teams. He could really help. But I also think he'd be good on the Bucks. The Bucks need somebody like that. I know that it doesn't look like a team that needs help, since they're like far and away the best. But they do need another person that can get his own shot in playoff time. And I think Derrick Rose is one of the people on the chopping block right now that could really help them do that.
Flawless, just under.
I want to counter that point. Derrick Rose is injury prone. He doesn't have a 3-point shot. The Bucks don't need him. They already have George Hill as well as Eric Bledsoe. Your point is mute, and we need to send him to the Bulls, like I said, and I win this round.
Seeing Scott's true colors come out and talking NBA really makes me wonder what I've been missing in your guys' phone calls.
Yeah, that was vicious and very forward. I'm not going to lie, Scott. I love that cutthroat nature.
I, too, am turned on.
I mean, I would rebuttal that by saying that, you know, even though George Hill is there, we still have Eric Bledsoe that's like really holding our team back. And if there was any way the Bucks could dump Bledsoe and get Derrick Rose in return, I think that's like a major plus on all sides. And nobody would be able to argue with that. But I think we all know that's not happening. And I really liked it when you talked dirty to me just now. So I do kind of feel like you should have won that one.
Derrick Rose cannot create a shot or cannot stay healthy and cannot shoot 3-pointers like Bledsoe. The Bulls need somebody who can come in and shoot 3-pointers, so we should get Derrick Rose.
All right, if we're calling Eric Bledsoe a 3-point shooter, it's time to move on to the next topic.
I just wanted to contradict myself again about the Bulls. That's all I want. Come home, Derek. I'm sorry we did this to you.
Come on.
Love it.
Sad times for all. Well, since I know who wrote this question, Zach, it's going to start with you.
Yes.
The Milwaukee Bucks are sitting at 41-7. They're the first team to have 40 wins and only 6 losses since the 73-win Warriors. With only 2 losses to go, can the Bucks beat the Warriors' regular season wins record?
Okay, well, I know it's
seconds on the clock, starting now.
I know it's super unlikely, and everything about this question tells me to say no. I know they don't care about the regular season win record. I know that they're not pushing for it, but fuck it. I'm going to say yes. I do think they can do it because Giannis is the most dominant player that the NBA has ever seen, and if he really puts his mind to it, I know that he can achieve whatever he wants. Kobe Bryant just passed away recently. He's one of Giannis's big inspirations. I think he's going to end the last half of the season very strong, and it could end in, you know, a 74-win season for the Bucks. Although it's unlikely, I think he could do it.
All right. Gone over, but an impassioned argument.
Yeah. I had to lay it all on the line.
The capability is there, is the willingness.
Yep. I really think that Giannis could pull through, but I'm interested to see what Scott has to say about this matter.
All right, Scott, we're passing it right over to you. Right, starting now.
Okay, so to win 74 games, they literally can only lose one game. Literally, they have to win every game except for one to do it. All logic says no. Nobody cares about the regular season anymore. But you know what? I'm with Zach. Let's say fuck it. Let's have them do it. Because honestly, you need a lot of injury luck, as we saw with the Warriors. And Giannis is averaging barely, I think he's averaging less minutes now than he was last season. And the Bucks got a deep team. Screw it. They're going to win 74 games and get a second round exit. I think that's just the most fun we could have with this team.
Yeehaw. All right.
A well-versed argument.
Rebuttal? I guess y'all are.
I mean,
we're in agreement.
We're in agreement. I mean, I could rebuttal it easily and say, like, it's literally impossible for them to only lose one game between now and the end of the season.
It's a pretty high claim.
Yeah, it's an insane claim. But, I mean, can we all just, like, pretend for 1 second that we would absolutely love to see that, and that would be one of the greatest moments in NBA history? And, yeah, I want it to happen. So, you know what? I'm going to be optimistic about it. I think they could do it.
You know what's funny? It would be kind of fitting because I don't feel like anybody's taking this Bucks season that serious because the Western Conference is where everybody cares about. So it's like they're just 41-7, but they're not like the de facto. Like when the Warriors were on this run, that was all we talked about in 2015. But like the Bucks, it's like they're the fourth best team and that we care about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really feel like even though they're like looking a lot better, like record-wise and numbers-wise than they were last year, there's just something about them this year. I guess maybe I just don't trust them after what happened in the playoffs against the Raptors last year. I don't know what it is. It doesn't impress me. I don't feel like any of these like winning streaks or anything necessarily mean anything. At least they don't speak anything to me. I actually think that they might even have a weaker team now this year without Brogdon, Brogdon in the lineup, because they don't have another guy that can get his own shot. But, you know, if Chris Middleton keeps playing like he's playing, I mean, they look unstoppable. So
they got a deep team. That's the biggest thing going for them because you need a lot of injury luck. A lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, they could throw one of those Lopez twins into like a wood chipper and still be a good team. So
I think Robin Lopez is a literal wood chipper.
Yeah, he got in that fight earlier this season. I saw him hit a couple threes already. He's trying to turn into the Twin Tower.
I haven't seen him do anything except set screens and eat wood. So again, like I have not seen him hold a basketball.
Love that.
Fantastic. All right, fellas, we're gonna head to Boston. Actually, wait, no, hell, are we talking about Boston? No, we're talking about the Sixers. Just kidding. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. No, I saw Boston. I was like, oh shit, no. We're returning the conversation to the Sixers post D-Rose combo.
Yeah.
So, as we know about the Sixers, Joel Embiid returns to last night's lineup. Is it last night or is it?
It was literally last night.
Prior?
Today is Sunday, and he returned
night?
last night, Saturday, on February the 1st. Yep. Most
notably, they took an L to the Celtics, the first of the season. Oh, yeah. Embiid's back, but the All-Star center finished with 11 points, and shooting 1 for 11. But during his injury reserve, Ben Simmons picked up most of that slack, averaging more points, rebounds, and field goal attempts than he did with Embiid in the lineup. This begs the question, are the Sixers better off with Embiid, or is he a horrible witch's curse that will bring nothing but terror to the Sixers fans? We're going to send this over to Scott first. Starting now.
The Sixers are much better with Joel Embiid, but here's the thing. Elton Brand, their GM, had a plan in place last year. That is to get all the players that can guard Joel Embiid to stop him, but he didn't go far enough. They only have Al Horford. Last night we saw Daniel Theis, the 10th man for the Celtics, was giving Embiid trouble. Sign him as well. Let's trade for Marc Gasol and let's get Brook Lopez. We will now have a 5 pieces of Exodia starting lineup of centers that will propel them to a second-round exit, and it will be glorious.
I love that both the Sixers and the Bucks are getting a second-round exit this year. Scott's playoff predictions
compelling
are
cases.
just hilarious. Yeah, that was very compelling. Well, if you don't mind, Jack, I want to rebuttal that so badly. I'm so ready to just jump in.
Absolutely, starting now.
Yeah, so they're clearly better off without him. They've been doing better without him. They look better without him. Their offense looks more fluid. Ben Simmons is playing like phenomenally better. There's no question that they look a lot better without him. I just don't think that they should put 5 centers on their team. I think that's ridiculous. I do think that they should, sacrifice him to the witch goddess there in Philadelphia. I know that there are a lot of like witch stores there and stuff, and that they could sacrifice him and potentially get themselves some good juju going into the playoffs, which they probably need more than his like 11 points a game.
I would like to rebuttal that, Ref. Can I rebuttal that?
You may. And take as much time as you'd like.
I don't need long because, listen, you can talk all this mad trash you want, but if 5 of the freshest centers, the most jacked dudes walked up to you, you would be in awe of them. You would want their jersey, and you would not talk trash to their face. That is an imposing lineup. It's going to scare people, and they're going to win like 44 games and make it to the second round, okay? That is an exciting team.
I love that. And you know what? Jokes aside, I am honestly shook that you think that they're better off without him, Scott, because I know that we've had this conversation so many times, and you are constantly on the Joel Embiid bandwagon. You love him so much. You're constantly telling me, oh, he's so dominant. Oh, he's one of the best big men in the league. And now all of a sudden you've totally turned heel and ran. What changed for you, Scott? Why don't you believe in Joel Embiid anymore?
If I said that, which I probably did, that they don't need them, I retract that. I was too lost into my bit. I actually think they are better with Joel Embiid. I've been one of the fans of the Sixers team even through the roller coaster season. I think this team can work on paper. It's not gelling. I thought they would figure it out before the playoffs, but honestly, at this rate, they might not have enough time. I mean, Embiid's on a minutes restriction this year. He's openly said he doesn't care about the regular season as much because he wants to be in shape for the playoffs. After last year, they were one Kawhi Leonard game winner away from being in the third round. I mean, but they just don't look as good this year, and I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I don't know. Down with Joel
I would,
Embiid.
if I'm getting rid of Joel Embiid, I'm waiting till the offseason, though. I don't think I'm trading him at the deadline. I think you roll out the squad, and then next year you pick one of Embiid or Simmons and trade the other.
And it's looking like that's what they're going to do, honestly, I think, if they don't do something this year. They're going to need to see some more results out of those two, or I think the experiment's over.
I mean, the Bulls got a package of Shaq Harrison, Jim Boylen, and all of Jim Boylen's belongings. I will take that to the airport personally for Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and might I add that Jim Boylen was an assistant coach for Greg Popovich. Do you guys know that? Does anybody know that?
Did you know
Greg
that?
Popovich was
Does
the
Greg
head coach
Popovich
while
know
he was
that?
an
Did Greg
assistant.
Popovich notice Jim Boylen on the sidelines, or did he think, wow, the courtside seats for celebrities are getting closer and closer to my staff's seats?
Well, I think it's hard not to notice him on the sideline because his bald head is so shiny that it just like gleams when you walk around him.
Is Jim Boylen the ultimate LeBron stopper? Like when he couldn't handle the Spurs in 2014, is it because Jim Boylen's bald head was just glistening in LeBron's eyes and he just couldn't see it?
This is Got Penny. Take it away, Jack. Take it away.
And you heard that, folks. You know what the air horn means. Time to move the fuck on.
You don't want to hear my Jim
All right,
Boylen
fellas.
fanfic?
I'll read it later tonight, privately.
That makes sense.
Earlier this week, the Kings played the Timberwolves and came back from a 17-point deficit with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter to eventually win in overtime. Leading that charge was guard Buddy Hield, who had a career-high 41 points. What's your big takeaway from this win? Start with you, Scott.
The big takeaway is that Luke Walton is in fact alive and is not in a sleepy comatose state or on acid like his father, because his decision to have Buddy Hield come off the bench and start with Bogdanovich is one that makes the Kings a lot more exciting. I'm digging Buddy Hield coming off the bench. Yes, he should be a starter. Yes, I get the potential and all that, but honestly, let him get comfortable. Maybe he comes back in starting role, but like, what's the worst case scenario if he's just Lou Williams 2.0 but can create his shot and maybe facilitate the offense off the bench?
Just the drift too long.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd give it to
I got
him.
that off
That was
before the
really
shot.
well versed, and I feel like he really got it off right at the shot clock. I wouldn't give him a violation.
All right.
That was well said.
Thanks, teammate.
For the first time in NBA history, the ref is listening to people.
You heard it here first on shot clock violation.
On shot clock violation. Pride has subsided.
Love that. Well, I'm ready to take it away. This is my favorite team in the league, and I've got lots of thoughts on this one.
Tell us about this win, Zach, starting now.
Great. Well, I agree with what you said, Scott. I think it was a good move to bring Buddy off the bench. He's looking a lot better. Maybe he can get his footing back. That would be amazing. But I think the big takeaway from this win is that the Kings can beat fucking anyone. I've been saying this all season. They've got so much offensive firepower. They've got some of the best young players in the league. De'Aaron Fox, Bogdanovich, Hield. They can all put it in so fast, and their potential was shown in this game when they scored over 17 points in less than 3 minutes. Come on. They can do that to anybody. They just need to rebound. That's it. Was I like way under the shot clock? There's so much silence.
Sorry. Dude, so I was like
close.
trying to get ahead for the next question. Yeah, you went way over, but
Oh, okay. Well, hey, if I'm gonna go over, I might as well be
yeah,
talking
totally
about the
zoned
Kings.
out on that one.
Yeah. That's like the coach giving a rousing halftime speech and hard cutting to the team getting blown out by 40 in the second half.
Which would only make sense
Shit, we
because
were supposed to absorb that? Oh, yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, it would
All
only
right,
make sense.
well, I didn't
because,
see it happen.
I mean, I've been saying this about the Kings all year. It's just like they just do the exact opposite of what I say they're going to do all the time. I just keep telling people, oh, they're going to be so great. They've got all this firepower. They can beat anybody. And then they turn right around and they fall to the bottom of the standings in the West. So.
I mean, in fairness, LeBron's been filming Space Jam 2. We don't know which athletes in the sequel are the ones that get their powers drained by the Monstars. It could be Bagley. It could be Hield. It could be De'Aaron Fox. They've been inconsistent, and I think that there's some paranormal involvement going on.
I wouldn't even put that, honestly, the more we've been talking about this, I mean, we talked about the witch sacrifices going on in Philadelphia. We're talking about, Devin Booker being put in Meek Mill jail. I think there might be some, actual relevance to that argument, Scott. I do believe you when you say that they had their powers sucked away from them. I haven't seen De'Aaron Fox do one windmill dunk this year.
Yeah. I think Danny DeVito's to blame. I think he's just pulling the strings from afar.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Powerful juju.
Yeah, but I do want to get to our next topic, because I know that it's near and dear.
We are going to move on to our next topic. A topic of interest to me as well. In fact, I'm going to give you guys double time.
I don't need it.
48 seconds to answer this because I'm going to add a question to this as well.
Okay.
So we know that the Chicago Bulls have an exciting young team this year, but are three games back from Orlando in the 8th seed in the East. They're currently 5 for 5 in their last 10 games. For the first question, I want you to address these last 10 games and explain why it's been so middle of the road. And then what do the Bulls need to squeeze into a playoff position this year? Player's choice. Who would like to go first?
I think I should go first. Scott deserves to have the final say on this one.
Please do. All right. 48 seconds on the clock. Starting now.
Okay, so these last 5 games have looked, honestly, pretty similar to me to how all the games have looked this season for the Bulls. What it looks like is Zach LaVine doing all the work, carrying the load offensively, and then kind of just being surrounded by a bunch of very young players with a very high potential and skill ceiling, but players that just haven't been able to put it together and been able to actually affect the outcome of the game. And so what I think they really need is they need a coach who can lead them in the fourth quarter and make adjustments that are going to help their team win, because they always lose games in the fourth quarters to some of the best teams in the league. And I also think that they really need their second star, Lauri Markkanen, to step up, man. That guy should be averaging some 20 and 10 numbers, and he's giving us some very, very low point averages. He looks scared to touch the ball. He's a timid little baby. I need him to step up and be a 7-foot big man in this league.
There it is.
I want that quote somewhere, a review of Lauri Markkanen.
I
a
know
little
that
baby
struck a
needs
chord
to
with you.
step up.
All right. Scott, how are you feeling about the last 10 games, and how are you feeling about the rest of the regular season?
As part of the question, okay. So the thing with the Bulls is he's spot on with all of that. The reason they've been 5-5 is the fact that they've had the worst injury luck. I mean, Otto Porter is just some mythical creature from the Georgetown forest that we've never actually seen play for the Bulls. Wendell Carter got hurt again. Markkanen's been dealing with injuries. He finally got shut down. Hopefully he gets healthy. I mean, the big thing for the Bulls is what do they need to do to squeeze into the playoffs this year? Absolutely nothing. They're going to Mr. Magoo themselves into the playoffs at a low seed, and they're going to get a terrible draft pick. Why, you ask? Because Zach LaVine's doing a lot for a little. He might even get hurt. I mean, they shut him down last year because we had nothing to play for. And what happened? We played ourselves into the 7th pick overall. So really, what you're asking is, how are the Bulls going to end up the 8th seed in the East? I don't know, but I know the predetermined outcome, and that is we are going to be the 8th seed in the East.
Fantastic.
That's wonderfully and cynically well put, Scott. Just what I expected.
I think that's been my favorite take of the episode.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as always with the Bulls, you are spot on, Scott. They, I think definitely, I didn't address this as much in my take, but I think they definitely are still going to squeeze into that 8 spot. They just have a knack for getting themselves into situations that make the future way worse for their entire franchise. They're so mismanaged that I'm sure even if they wanted to tank, the message wouldn't make it all the way down the ladder to the players. You know, like, I have every reason to believe that they're going to be the 8th seed in the East.
Fantastic. So the premonition confirmed. Their fate is sealed.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so excited for you, Scott. A playoff team. Think of that. They have a playoff team.
I did start this episode talking about how I had a Nate Robinson jersey because of his flu game against the Nets in a Game 6. So listen, I'll take my small victories.
Well put. And then, yeah, if they get D-Rose back, he'll just tear his ACL again, inevitably.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Yes, but if he...
It's going to happen in practice when Jim Boylen makes him run his 15th suicide for the day.
Suicides.
He's just got to want it more, guys. I don't know how you don't understand this. Suicides equals success. LeBron doesn't do suicides? Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting. Well, there's exceptions to every rule.
Yeah. Hard work and determination. That's the Jim
I do
like
that he sticks to his guns. I mean, this league's all about load management and guys taking off back-to-backs, and Jim Boylen's like, not only will they play 40 minutes a night, but they're doing suicides afterwards if the fans want to stay and watch.
Jim Boylen's just pulling out all the party tricks at this point, because I think he knows his tenure is limited, and he's just got to get all the goofs in before he leaves, you know? He's got to really get to know these guys and ruin their careers before he moves on to, like, you know, assistant coaching position elsewhere.
Which is ironic, because we said the same thing about Tom Thibodeau ruining Dang, Noah, and Rose's career, which I think is an over-exaggeration, but he was successful for us, so I guess some things don't change.
Okay, great. Like the Bulls franchise. They never change. And that's what we love about them.
That's why I hate complaining. We're so spoiled. We had Jordan, but I was born too late, damn it.
Well, I know we've talked about this a lot, but really the most disappointing thing for me about the Bulls is, like, similar to the Kings, they lose most of their games in the fourth quarter. It's a really big bummer to see it, just because they do so well for so much of the game. They're hanging with some of the best teams in the league, and it always happens. It comes down to a couple decisions in the fourth quarter, and they just don't have the leadership on their team to make the right decisions when it counts.
Okay, hang on. I want to do a new segment. Here's a question for the ref. Are you ready, Jack? Get ready to start the clock.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, God. All right.
Knowing nothing but what we've talked about, if the Bulls and Kings combined rosters to make the best possible roster, could they make the playoffs right now? Go ahead.
Starting timer. Combining their rosters. I think it'll take some of the pressure off Levine. I don't know if that's going to solve their fourth quarter blues. Who's managing? It's a two-headed snake type action.
What's the opposite of Sophie's choice? Because it's Luke Walton and Jim Boylen. You want neither.
Shit. Sorry, guys. I'm out of time.
Oh, bummer. I guess we'll have to move on to the last topic of the day, which is one of the most difficult ones to talk about.
Yeah, so we're gonna pivot. It's sad, yes. I think we have all had time to think about this and process this. The loss of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, which to me, as someone who's like kind of distant from the interpersonal relationships in the NBA, it's just felt like watching someone you'd never think would die.
That's a good way to put it.
It's just, you'd never think it happened. I think everyone kind of went through that stage of grief, of disbelief, very early on, and that was something that lingered with me. But the amount of support we've seen from NBA players, current, former, and anyone associated with the league has been enormous, as with just a lot of the American media. So we're going to talk about what Kobe meant to you, and where do you think his name will lie amongst the greats? I'd like to focus more on the latter. I think that's like the way that we can pay respect the best. Well, no, I'd like to hear what you guys have to think as well. But in a way, the man has passed, but I feel like this is sort of a moment of immortalization, just the same. I think all of us will remember where we were when we heard the news. So I'd like to start with the latter question, and then if you have time, talk about what Kobe means to you personally. But I think for the sake of, how many opinions are there about what Kobe meant to you, where do you guys think that Kobe's name will lie in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, in 50 years' time? Or if the league is not absolved and we are not in martial law by 2045.
That draft pick could be anything, though. It could be Kobe.
It could be Kobe. All bets are off.
Yeah.
So
reborn into the league through a dragon egg, which is only fitting.
That would be pretty sweet. Sold to a mysterious princess with white hair.
Produced by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
Georgia. All right, a lot of this is going to get cut.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me, how do you think Kobe is going to be immortalized in the league? Let's start with you, Zach. 24 on the clock.
Which is only fitting. So I think Kobe will obviously be forever remembered, and I don't think I'm being sensational when I say that I genuinely think he is the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball. He has 5 championships, right up there with Jordan. And just the thing that really sticks out to me, and why I say he's the greatest player that's ever played basketball, is just really his competitive nature, and not just that, but his insane work ethic. I mean, I think when we all think of Kobe Bryant, we think of the Mamba mentality. We think of how much the game meant to him and how hard he worked to achieve his greatness. And I know that people like Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson certainly have all worked extremely hard as well. I'm not taking that away from them, but I just know, based on the kind of person that Kobe Bryant is, that he has outworked any player that came before him or will probably come after him. And I think that there's a lot to say for that. And I know I'm already over my time, but I just think it's important to note that to me, he was my favorite enemy. I was a big fan of the 7 Second Suns. So seeing him destroy us in the playoffs every year, it hurt so bad, but it was just it just made it feel even better when we got wins on him. Every game that he played in felt important. It felt like a performance. It felt like it was something meaningful, no matter if it was just some regular season game against the Grizzlies or a playoff match against an actual contender, for the NBA Finals. So I just think, just at the core of it all, he is one of the most exciting players that we've ever gotten to watch, and definitely one of the greatest to ever do it, if not, in my opinion, the greatest.
Fantastic words. Yeah, it felt rude to cut you off.
Yeah, I fully expected to go.
Come on, ref, you got to do it. Somebody's got to blow the whistle.
You get 5. All right, Scott, you're on pace, my friend.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Kobe.
Zach's kind of put it very well. One thing that's interesting to me is Kobe's not the greatest player, and I say that because it's always been funny to me. I mean, I'm not the first one to draw this correlation, but Kobe literally copied Michael Jordan. It was so eerie, right? Like, he changes his number to 24. He won more than 23. He shaves his head. He steals Michael Jordan's fist pump. He has his tongue sticking out. He has the old man fadeaway game. And yet, Kobe still cemented his own unique legacy. And I think the most interesting thing to see put in perspective, because fortunately we don't have to have some of our star athletes pass away this tragically, so we don't get to see it. But one of the craziest things to see is how he impacted so many fans, but also impacted so many players. I think it's interesting to get an inside look at just how much he meant to his contemporaries, to his peers, because we always heard stories for years how he's the worst teammate. I mean, it'd been reported about for years. Yeah, nobody liked playing with him, but that wasn't the case when he seeing all these players come out. And Paul George even called him the Michael Jordan of his generation. I think him growing up where he was an 18-year-old out of high school, he'd been following him through social media, through highlights, YouTube. Like, he connected in a way that Jordan didn't, only because of time and limitations and YouTube and all that. So he's going to be remembered fondly. I mean, the Mavericks just retired his number. The Clippers are leaving his number, I think, on the seat along with his daughter that they were last at for the rest of the season. It's incredible to see how much his legacy, it's going to last, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, 100%. And so I guess that kind of also one thing I forgot to add to this question when I was making the list is I am kind of interested to know what your favorite Kobe moment is, Scott. I know my favorite moment. I boiled it down to 2. I've been watching highlights all week, of course, just like everybody else has. I think one of my absolute favorite moments from Kobe Bryant is when he does that behind the back. He takes the ball behind his back and then finishes with that dunk over, I can't even remember what team it was on. I think it was on the Jazz or something like that. That was just one of the most disgusting plays I've seen him do. It was just so Kobe, so vintage, dunking over somebody and also adding the flair with the behind the back right before it. But I also can never and will never forget the moment that Matt Barnes tried to fake him out and he didn't even flinch.
Yes.
That was ice cold. That is the Mamba mentality right there. I don't know if there's a single moment that encapsulates who Kobe Bryant was as a competitor, as a player, more than that moment when Matt Barnes tried to throw that ball an inch from his face and he didn't even move.
Isn't it funny that the only way to meme Kobe Bryant is to still have an authentic Kobe? You can't even really make fun of the dude. You just lean into the Mamba mentality. That's a cold motherfucker.
Well, I mean, that was a cold-blooded moment. The ball was literally inches away from his eyes. It's insane. I mean, any normal human would register that with a flinch. It's just anybody would.
And Matt Barnes is not somebody to mess around with. That dude will start a bar fight. It's not sweet old Al Horford, is excuse me, sir. It's Matt Barnes. That dude's literally a goon.
Literally. That's his job. Yeah. So what's your favorite moment, Scott?
My favorite great moments you brought up, my thing with Kobe is I'll always remember is the Mamba mentality and people talking about his legendary work ethic and how he approached the game, and which also led to his ventures off the court that everybody talked about. Great businessman as well. And for me, the one I'll never forget was when they did the jersey retirements. He had 2 numbers retired, which is kind of the coolest accolade he has. When they retired both of his jerseys for that ceremony, it was the Lakers against the Warriors, and this was right before they got LeBron, and they were winning, 25 games. They sucked, worst peak in Lakers history, and they were tied 102-102 with 5 seconds to go or something. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope brought the ball down for the Lakers. He was playing for him. And instead of setting up a play and getting an open shot, he tried to do a Kobe shot and took a deep 3 and airballed it. And the clock went, and they went to overtime. And look this up. I'm not making it up. they hard cut from that to a shot of Kobe escorting his children off the court, and he looks so disappointed. He didn't even stay for overtime, and it is the most.
Like
it just
shielding their
embodies
eyes.
what Kobe is. He's like, this is a joke. That was a terrible shot. You're just doing it to do it, and I'm like, that's Kobe. Even when he's retired, he's still Kobe.
I love that. I love that. Do you have a favorite Kobe moment, Jack? Are there any that come to your mind?
I guess something that you were saying, Zach, and I mean both of you guys kind of hit it. I think all imitation of Kobe done is done out of like a loving parody. I think that's kind of that like imitation is the best form of flattery, or is the highest form of flattery. And I don't think that like maybe not so much a moment, but I think it's cool that Kobe's name is synonymous with like a hard to hit shot, or like I don't know, just being too hard. His reputation is fucking ridiculous. Like that's why I think there's an element of immortality to him. Is that like what a reputation, what a larger than life personality, and I think that will live on. I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I know
It'll be
it
a
won't.
long time till we see another Kobe. You know.
Absolutely, I know it won't. I know we'll never forget him because, like you said, there will never be another player that is quite like him. But we are well over our time. You know, we've gone through maybe 3 or 4 NBA quarters at this point. So I think it's probably about time to tally up the violations and see who the loser of the week was. I'm so eager to figure out who lost.
Well,
I can't wait.
Gentlemen, with your guys' pleas against the ref for each other, and for a little mercy on my part, we have landed at a tie. And so, I bring you to to an 11th and final question. Wow. Of which I have prepared for you. Just
Jack, I'm not going to read your screenplay.
Oh, damn it.
Well, that's it, I guess. We got to pack it up and go home, folks. Jack's screenplay sucks.
All right. You have to read the whole thing to win. Okay. I am going to name the 3 top NBA draft prospects. And for each of them, you are going to have to tell me their position.
Oh, God.
You're going to have to tell me their position. Let me see if this is fair to ask. Some of them haven't even gone to college.
BS. I hate this.
Okay, all right. How about this? Name 3 of the 5 top draft prospects for 2021.
Oh, God. Without doing an internet search right now, I can't name even one.
I'm not looking it up, but I should. I don't know. All I know is James Wiseman got busted at Memphis because his coach gave him like $12, and the NCAA is like, "How dare you? You're kicked out." Shame.
Oh my God! Wow, that's really absurd. I don't know. So Jack, we had actually an 11th question that we could talk about. Do you want to bring that out? Me and Scott actually thought of one earlier.
I would like to do one that has like name as many as you can, so we pretty much guarantee both of you.
Honestly,
get it right.
if you want to do this, Jack, it'd be funny. We just have to guess and see who gets the most.
We're gonna have to do it. Yeah, let's do it, Scott. I swear, if you look any of them up, you
I'm not. I swear, I'm actually not. I'm gonna be honest
gonna
with this
look 'em
because
up
I think
either.
it'll be funnier.
Okay.
All right. Shit. Nah. All right. Stand by.
Here we go.
Let me see if I can pull that list back up. Because I closed it.
Is the Memphis guy even on there? I think his name's Wiseman, or did they take him off?
I don't
not on
know.
there.
Oh, God.
That's tough. That's a tough one, man. That was the only name I knew too, Scott. The rest of this is just going to be an absolute patch job. Guesswork.
All right, fantastic. Stand by. Let me see if I can get a better list.
This is a hilarious time to mention that me and Zach do not watch NCAA, which is probably sacrilegious for hoop heads, but we really don't pay attention.
I don't know. Is it? Like, I just want to watch a basketball game where everybody on the court could probably dunk. You know what I mean? Like, it's just cool to see, like, insane feats of athleticism. And not that there aren't insane feats of athleticism in college basketball. Just they happen just about every play in the NBA. So
yeah, but when they are, the guy's going to be gone in 6 months to declare for the league. So I'll wait till then.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. I have a 2021 mock draft. It has 30 players listed. Name as many of them as you can.
Oh my God! Here we go.
All right, I'm gonna set a 1 minute timer.
Okay.
Do we just take turns yelling made-up names?
Sorry?
Is it 1 minute each, or do me and Zach take turns yelling made-up names?
No, I'm gonna put 1 minute on, and then I'm gonna ask each of you your names.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear you.
And no cheating.
Yeah.
All right, a minute starting now.
Okay. Wiseman is one of my best guesses. LaMelo Ball is LaMelo
Ball. No. Wait, stop. No, you have a minute to think.
Oh, fuck. Well, I mean...
A minute to write them down.
I don't need a minute.
I don't need a minute. Yeah, I just... got him rolling right now.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right, sorry. Start again.
I'm locking in LaMelo Ball. That's my best guess.
That's such a good
LaMelo
guess.
Ball, Bronny James. I know he's still in high school, but maybe he'll, like, squeak out. Maybe, like... what about the other Ball brother? Like, he's playing overseas right now, isn't he? Maybe he tries to get in the league next year. I don't know. What's the other Anthony Ball? What's the other Ball brother?
There are no balls listed on this.
God damn it. I mean, this might be the year for LeVar Ball to take a chance and try to enter the league. Like, it's about time, honestly. He should just declare himself for the draft and see what happens. Like, somebody will pick him up just because it's fun. Who else? Isn't there any NBA players that have like a son out there? Okay, thank God.
All right, Scott. The number to beat is 0.
I can't. LaMelo Ball was my only guess.
Holy shit. This was last updated today.
Okay, well, Scott's got to do it too. He's got to do it too. If I have to do it, he has
All right, Scott. Whenever you're ready.
Oh God. I'm gonna guess a white guy from Duke who's played 4 years and brings a certain intangibles that maybe could be a late round steal. Does that count?
All right.
You just have to give us his name, Scott. Just say his name.
Okay, I'm gonna try
There's
to guess.
There's a few guys from Duke on there. I want to see if they fit the bill.
Tom, Kevin,
no,
Stefanski, Schwartz,
John Shire,
Ben, Mike Krzyzewski Jr., Mike Krzyzewski the second, Mike Krzyzewski the third.
Jesus Christ.
Joseph
gotta be somebody
Cardellini.
Oh my God.
Tom Smith.
Oh, thank God. Look at what you've done, Jack.
Success.
Here we go. The
Oh
refs
God.
dictating
I'm trying to see
the
how I
outcome
can
all
somehow
over
make
again.
this. How I can somehow make this so you can succeed at this.
Can you pick
Either
like
of you.
Can you just pick a random year of a draft class that already happened and we have to guess what players were in it?
That's more likely for us. That's more likely.
Okay. All right, let me see. I'll give you a good one, I think.
Dun, 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 dun.
I like
I mean,
how
we
we
can also do-
invalidated. Or
We can
what?
also do our take on
Alright.
Dame Lillard. He's been balling.
No.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to ask you to name as many of the top 20 draft picks for the 2015 draft.
2015.
5 years ago.
Okay. I think I got this. Yeah, I think I got this.
The first, wait, let me see. Would it help if I give you names
Yeah.
of like
Can you
who,
say
gave,
who
who got the
number
first
one
three
is?
draft picks?
Just say who number one was. Yeah.
The number one draft picks. I'm taking them off is Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay. It was his year. Gotcha.
It is his year.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
I think I can do it.
Zach, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Hell yeah. All right, Zach, fire him up. What do you got?
Okay, I got De'Aaron Fox,
No.
Buddy Hield,
What is it? Healed?
Hield, H-I-E-L-D.
Also no.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Also no.
Brandon Ingram,
Ingram?
yes.
No.
Okay, Devin Booker,
Devin Booker? Yes.
yes. I got one. All right, and Jaylen Brown.
Negative.
All right, I got one. That's not bad.
Hey,
Could be worse.
You're on the board, my friend.
2015.
All right, Scott. The number to beat is 1.
Okay, it was the Karl Anthony Towns draft. We said he was number 1, so he's off the board,
This is
right?
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, D'Angelo Russell,
Correct.
Jahlil Okafor,
That's 2 and 3.
Kristaps Porzingis. I remember the top
That's number
4.
4.
Jesus Christ.
And then I think the Bulls took
Murdered.
Bobby Portis that year, right?
Portis.
He was at the end because we were good.
Yeah.
In the 20s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, Scott won.
I'd like to see how far he goes.
That I think Hazonia was in there. Mario Hazonia.
Yep. Number 5.
Oh, ew. Mario Hazonia.
Miles Turner, Stanley Johnson, and that's all I got.
Correct.
Jesus.
All right.
Scott knows the NBA.
Scott
so
remembers
much
the
better.
draft.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I watched live, so Zach had unfortunate guessing.
Ooh, damn, dude. That's hilarious. Well, Zach, if it makes you feel any better, I don't think any quantity you could have gotten would have beaten Scott's in this case.
Yep. And you know what that means? I have to say one sentence, no matter what it is, as long as Scott deems it appropriate.
As long
Okay.
as Scott deems it appropriate.
Are you ready for it?
Yep. What do I have to say?
All right, this is the sentence, ladies and gentlemen. I want Zach Huber to say, Derrick Rose is the Devin Booker, is the Meek Mill of this generation.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, you heard it here first on Shot Clock Violation. Devin Booker is the... Oh, no, wait. Sorry.
Start that whole bit again. I like that.
I'm trying to... You heard it here first on Shot Clock Violation. Derrick Rose is the Devin Booker, is the Meek Mill of our generation.
Beautiful.
Incredible.
Beautiful. And yeah. Well, guys, thank you for joining me here on Shot Clock Violation this week. We'll be back next week with more quick, hot takes on stories from around the NBA. Until then, may Adam Silver bless all of your dreams.
God bless.
Shot clock violation.